All right, I will say good morning. Let us begin. So we are beginning this morning in Mishna Yomi, and Mirz Hashem, but we are zocha to begin a new parak in Misechas Berachos, Mishnayis Berachos. So today we will be doing Berachos parak Hey, Mishnayis Aleph and Beis. Really beautiful Mishnayis, and I'll tell you something amazing. You're going to see over the next couple of days that in fact the very Mishnayis that we're learning in Misechas Berachos are the exact same Mishnayos that have been quoted in Maseches Megillah. Absolutely incredible. So the Mishnah says as follows: Parak Hey Mishnah Aleph, chapter 5, Mishnah 1. Ein ogdim lehispalel el mitoch koved rosh. A person should not get up to daven except out of a state of koved rosh. Now I will say, interestingly enough, how do you define koved rosh? Says so. Some of the Mefarshim on the Mishnah do is as follows. They say koved rosh hainu ahefech mikalos rosh. You know, sometimes the way to define something is by defining its opposite. So the opposite of koved rosh is kalos rosh. Kalos rosh means what? A lightheadedness, right? A jokingness, a certain sense of levity, a lack of seriousness. So therefore, koved rosh means seriousness. A person should only get up to daven if they're in a proper state of seriousness. The Bartanura defines this as hachnoah umora. Hachnoah means humility, mora means reverence. A person should only get up to daven. In other words, a person should make sure that they are in the right mindset to daven. And therefore the Mishnah says, and by the way, of course, when it says tefillah over here, lispalel, it's dafka referring to Shemona Esrei. Right? So a person, Shemona Esrei, which is that dialogue between myself and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, a person should approach that dialogue with a seriousness, a humility, and a reverence. The original pious ones, the early pious ones, used to go ahead, and I will say, interesting once again, means shohim means wait. They would wait for an hour, although shah doesn't have to be an hour. Shah could also go ahead and mean a certain amount of time. They would literally wait a certain amount of time before they would daven, in order to go ahead and properly focus their heart to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So I'll say, interestingly enough, I thought this is so fascinating, because you would think, obviously, what's the point of the Mishnah? The point of the Mishnah was the early pious ones would go ahead and focus themselves. They would prepare. The Mishnah says you should only daven from a state of koved rosh, seriousness, humility, reverence. And the Chasidim Harishonim, they would go ahead and prepare themselves. How would they prepare themselves? They would now show again, shoheh means to wait. It's interesting. I would have thought to myself, how do you prepare yourself? I don't know. You learn Mishnah Yomi, you learn Daf Yomi, you say some Tehillim. Shoheh means to wait. You see from here that sometimes the way to have kavanah during davening is not what you do, but it's what you don't do. Meaning that sometimes the secret to kavanah is to clear my mind. That's the idea, because we'll say, what's the greatest obstacle to kavanah? The greatest obstacle to concentration during davening is that I'm thinking about other things. And sometimes what I really need to do when I daven or before I daven is I just need to clear my mind. So the Hasidim Harishonim, what would they do? Show him. They would come to shul and they would literally just clear. They would wait. They would tarry. They would just, whether it's meditation, whether it's contemplation, or whether it's just an opportunity just to say, you know what? I'm going to calm my mind a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and just still my mind a little bit. I'm going to try to clear out all of the things that create some of the static in life. In order that they should go and have proper kavanah. The Mishnah then goes on, Afilu hamelech shal b'shlamo, when you're davening Shemona Esrei, the king asks you how you're doing, lo yeshivenu, do not respond. So the Bartanura says this is talking about a Jewish king, not a non-Jewish king. A Jewish king will be understanding, of course, if you don't go and answer him during Shemona Esrei. A Gentile king may not be as understanding. But the idea over here that the Mishnah is trying to make is don't interrupt your Shemona Esrei. Don't interrupt. He says, V'afilu nachash karuch ala kevo, even if there is a snake. Even if there is a snake wound up around your ankle, lo yafsik. Do not interrupt your Shemona Esrei. So we'll say it's interesting. The Bartanura understands this like a little bit literally. He says it's really only a snake, because a snake doesn't bite most of the time. Okay, good. It's good odds, right? A snake doesn't bite most of the time. He says, ever again, an akrav, if you have a scorpion by your foot, ultimately you're permitted to go ahead and interrupt, because halacha l'maisa, again, scorpions bite. Rabbi say that again on a most basic level. What the Mishnah is coming to highlight to us is don't interrupt your Shmona Esrei. In general, again, I will say how we have to be careful not to talk during davening. Davening is not a time to talk to my friend. Davening is a time for me to talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I have the whole day to talk to my friends, and I should talk to my friends. That's fantastic. Davening is the one time that not the one time, but it is one of the times that I have to speak to the Ribono Shel Olam. So the idea is, once you're in that dialogue, don't interrupt. Don't interrupt. There's an important conversation to be had with the king. There's something else. There's a snake. There's this. There's that. Don't interrupt. To the best of my ability, go ahead and daven without interruptions. Therefore, I will say, you effectively see three different things. Number one, that a person has to daven from a state of reverence and humility. Number two, in order to achieve kavanah, often a person has to clean out the stuff that's kind of rattling around in my head. And number three, when davening, specifically Shmona Esrei, don't interrupt. Mishna Beis, Maskirin Gevuros Geshem B'Tchias HaMeser. So we had this, right? We go ahead and we say Mashiv Haruach Umorid Hageshem in the bracha of Tchias HaMeser. So which is exactly what we do in our Shmona Esrei, right? So remember, we saw already in Maseches, this is the beginning of Maseches Tainis, right? So remember again, why do we make mention of the rain in Tchias HaMesim? Because again, rain is considered to be a gvura. Just like Tchias HaMesim is the strength of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the bringing of rain is also a manifestation of the strength of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But we ask for rain, i.e. the same tal umater livracha. We ask for that in the bracha of Barich Aleinu, which interestingly enough is the bracha of Parnasa. Why do we ask for rain in the bracha of Parnasa? Ultimately, again, because rain is Parnasa. Right? Rain ultimately, again, is Parnasa. V'Havdalah v'chonin adas. We say Havdalah in the bracha of chonin adas. I must say this is actually very beautiful. Why do we say, remember again, on Matzah Shabbos, we insert Ata Chanantanu into the bracha of chonin adas. Ata chonin la'adam das. You give man wisdom. And in that bracha, we insert Ata Chanantanu. We insert Havdalah. Why is that? See, interestingly enough, the Bartanura says two things. Number one, Atachoni la'adam das is the first weekday bracha. Havdalah, which distinguishes between Shabbos and weekday, therefore is said in Atachoni la'adam das. But then he says something that's beautiful, and then he says something even more beautiful, which is amazing. I will say, what's Havdalah? What's Havdalah? Havdalah represents the ability to distinguish between Kodesh L'chol, between that which is holy and that which is mundane. In order to do that, what do you need? Atachoni la'adam das. You need wisdom. You need wisdom. I will say, sometimes the greatest amount of wisdom we need in life is for the ability to distinguish between that which is holy and that which is mundane. Because sometimes the differences between the two are quite obvious and discernible, and sometimes they're much more nuanced and really difficult to ascertain. You need das. A person really needs wisdom and knowledge to know what's kodesh, what's chol, what's holy, what's mundane, what's tameh, what's tahar, what's kasher, what's treif. If I don't have that wisdom, how do I make the right decisions in life? So beautiful. Rabbi Kiva says, no, Omra bracha brevius b'fnei atzma. Rabbi Kiva is actually of the opinion that you say Havdalah as its own independent bracha in Shmona Esrei. It's on Matzah Shabbos, its own independent bracha. Rabbi Eliezer says, no, we go ahead and we say it in Modim. Now I will say, why would we say it in Modim? It's actually the same idea. Rabbi Eliezer says, I'm giving thanks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for giving me the wisdom to distinguish between Kodesh L'chol, to distinguish between that which is holy and that which is mundane. I will say, of course, we know we've haskin, like the Tanakh, like the first opinion of the Mishnah, namely, that we insert Havdalah as part of the first weekday bracha of Shmona Esrei, the bracha of Chonin Adas. We'll say Shkoyach, we'll stop over here. Be'eretz Hashem, continue tomorrow with the rest of the Mishnayos. Shkoyach.